Here we go, Brian's going, okay, Mike, what pit did you use in your class? Well, I had a lot of people asking. I actually cooked on my rotisserie. Uh, Lee had even said, they're going to want to taste what your brisket tastes like. So I cooked my brisket, my ribs, and my pork butt on my rotisserie. And then I cooked my chicken on my 22-inch WSM. But I did go in, we did cover a drum, how to set it up, how I would set up a drum. I would make some serious modifications to this drum or this drum, and here's how I would do it, and here's why I would do it. Because, like, fire management, I mean, Travis, how long did we spend on fire management? An hour?
Longer than that. The total time for the whole class, probably closer to 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot. And do I do something different than what you've been taught?
So I always thought that you put some charcoal in a basket, you put some tumbleweeds or some fire starters, and you light it and you go on about your day. And couldn't be further from the truth. You'd be more wrong about that.
Yeah. So, yeah.
As a matter of fact, so I'm not going to give anything away here because I'm under NDA, and Steve Cumby, my lawyer, told me not to say anything, but I think I'll be okay here. After everything you went through in that class, I come home and I've got a hasty bake roughneck, and I've got a short rib drum smoker. I'm like, okay, well, after some of the concepts we learned about different types of pits, I'm like, I wonder if I can actually get these to run at the exact same temperature using what we learned. And I called Mike this afternoon because I was actually practicing chicken. I had a drum and the roughneck within 1.5 degrees of each other, and they were rock steady. There was no fan. There was no forced draft. There was absolutely nothing going in there. It blew my mind.
Wow. Yeah. And I'm going to post this up there. Can I show your picture?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So I'm going to book about everything. So
he cooked the chicken for the first time using the stuff that we had showed, and I'm sure you've seen some of Travis's chickens, but that was Travis's chicken. And I mean, it was absolutely a perfect chicken. Compared to what he cooked, it looks just like what we turned in for the class. So, it's quite a bit. It's the process. It's a full package deal. It is fire management like you've never heard, and I think everybody was blown away. You're always told how to run a pit one particular way. You've got to do this. You always have to have this like this, and I'm not going to give it away because it's kind of big. And I go in and I'm doing exactly the opposite of that. Everything that is like, every damn thing that we've always been taught, you're doing the opposite of everything. And I was like, here's why. Here's why we are doing this away. And when I said that, then they really, they're probably thinking I'm still full of crap, but then they understand this goes all the way back to the very, very first thing that we had talked about in the class. And now how that they were trying to wrap their mind around in 1.5 hours is now tied into the fire management part of it. And then I think that's when it started to click, because it literally, we're probably 3 hours of teaching just on those two subjects. Would you say, Travis, to kind of get a full grasp of everything that was going on?
Yeah. So once you actually had all the food made and we actually tried it, and I was like, this shit makes sense. I mean, it 100% makes sense. And it's like, wow.
Steve, go ahead.
It's much easier to be consistent.
Yeah, the whole process. Steve Cumby, when he ate the chicken, he said it's the best damn chicken I've ever ate in my life.
Yeah, I hate chicken. I mean,
right.
Not just hate cooking chicken. I can't stand the taste of chicken. I'm not a big chicken fan.
Right.
And I would order 5 or 6 halves of those and plow them down. I mean, they were that good. And I was like, and I thought I've had good barbecue. I tried to judge a few. Maybe that was my problem. Go in there and do final tables. I'm like, God damn, this is some good chicken. And then that blew it out of the water. That brisket, though, oh my God. If I my brisket half as good as what you cooked in that class, I should be in the top 5 every single weekend.
Yeah, my brisket's been it's been pretty strong. I think the second is tied for second. I tied for first. I got second. I lost the tiebreaker. I don't know. I've had so many first and second place briskets this year. I don't know. There's a second there. There's a second there. I had a first in West. Ask Aaron. Love that. Had a second place up in Henrietta. I don't know. I've had first place in I don't know. I can't remember all of them. Oh gosh, Aaron's on the show tonight. fun. We had some. All right, it's all right. And we talked about that, and I let people know really quick, Aaron, in the class that look, we had a fun time down there, and I kind of talked to them, Aaron, about what you and I had talked about. Competition makes people better, and I told them, I kind of told them how all that stuff went down, Aaron. Like, we we were. It was after our podcast. I had you and Fred and somebody on here, and you said I'm going to West Texas. I was like, wait, but what do you mean you're going to West Texas? I've told the story, and I was like, you called me out. That was the wrong. I said, if you show up, I'm just going to beat you. And he was like, bring it on, boy. And I was like, okay, we got it going on now, and that was it. I mean, at that point, don't get me amped up because too much competitive drag racing in me, and it's still in my blood veins. And man, I was some kind of amped up for that. And Aaron we were talking about that afterward. I mean, I love that man to death. He is awesome. And it was an absolute blast. We were sitting right next to each other, having a great time at awards. And we were both talking about that, sometimes we need that. And this was Aaron's words. He's 100% right. Sometimes we need that to get up, to be on our game, because sometimes we get too lackadaisical and we're not doing what we're supposed to do. And one of the things I kept telling y'all, and you can vouch for this, Travis, this every cook-off that I go to, I have never had a bad cook-off. And Travis was like, I can see how you are so consistent in everything, and how you always say, I never have a bad cook-off. If I got beat, it's just, it wasn't a mistake that I made. The judges didn't like my food that day, but it's never because what I put in the box I wasn't happy with, because everything I put in the box, I'm pretty damn happy with. And it's just one of them deals. And when they seen that, and we went through the chicken, and you loved it, and Travis or Steve and everybody, they were reeling over the chicken. I was like, if the chicken's this good, what the hell's the brisket going to taste like? I was like, well, we got 2 more proteins in between, guys, and then we did the ribs, and, we showed how to make that texture on that rib right. And, I showed you, I mean, we cooked it. It wasn't no fluke. They were perfect, good texture and everything. And then the pork, man, they thought the pork was crazy. And then the brisket hit. And we've had some.
You gave us on ribs.
Yeah, there was some good. There was 2 major techniques on it. Yeah, I can't say that. 2 major techniques on ribs that were pretty amazing, and it makes a big difference, I think. And there was some techniques that I do that's a little bit different than everybody else. So it was techniques trimming. Like I think they were blunt. They were looking at my knife sharpener. There's another thing I don't know how many people was over there looking at that.
I forgot to bring that home in that raffle. I wanted.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But I trimmed the knife. They saw me. It was razor sharp. I used 1 8-inch Gunnar Wilhelm chef knife. I trimmed my brisket. I trimmed my ribs. I trimmed all the pork, and I trimmed the chicken. And I ever sharpen that knife with the steel or anything?
You washed it, and then you came right back and started cutting through bone. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
I got knives for that, Mike. God damn.
Yeah, just never once did I ever touch that knife with the steel again. And I told them, I was like, there's a saying. I don't know if you saw the saying on the back of my wall where the race car was, right behind the race car. He who has the trickiest toys always wins.
Yeah.
And I told them that, and it's the little toys, it's the trick things that you have like that makes the difference. That is the most important tool that you have in your toolbox, is a knife that is so sharp. I mean, you probably can't see it, but I mean, when I get done, I'll put it right here on my arm, and I said, all right, guys, watch this. And I just touch it. And as soon as I touch it, just the hair comes off my arm. And that's the start of it, because you can't get what you're looking for, as far as I'm concerned, in the trim part of it, until you get a knife that is like that. And, another little thing I told them at the end, I said, it's all about luck. And everybody was like, yeah, you got to get luck. You got to have the judges. You got to have that. And I said, but what was the one thing, Travis? Do you remember what I said luck is? It's not the luck that we were talking about. Did you write it down?
Did.
Okay, you can say it.
I have to go back to my notes.
Oh, you wrote it down. You didn't remember. Okay. So luck. It was labor under correct knowledge.
Yeah. There you go.
Labor under correct knowledge. So, and when you get that part of it right, to me, that's what ties everything together. So, I know a lot of people have seen your post, but you can kind of tell them when I asked everybody, how does this compare to everybody's class? I think Robert was next to you. He's a KCBS master judge. He's taken, I think he said 4 classes, wasn't it? 4 or 5 classes?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And what was his response? Blown away, overwhelmed, something like that. I mean,
yeah, he said his mind was blown, the best class he'd ever been to. And then the same thing for me. And then everybody just kept raving about it.
yeah.
So after I made that post, what was that, 8 a.m. Sunday morning?
Yeah.
By noon Sunday, I had about 30 calls and text messages. Oh, was it really that good? Was it really that good? Was it really that different? And I was like, it was mind blowing. I cannot believe how much we learned in that little bit of time. And then everybody's asking, like, hey, is he going to do another class? It's like, you're going to have to reach out to him on that one. I don't know. I hope not, because I want to catch up on some winnings. But
Right.
I mean, if he does, he does. So
Exactly.
at least give me a little bit of time to get my feet under me before you share this even more, because it's earth shattering stuff. It truly is. And
yeah. Well, I appreciate it.